Hello friends and welcome to another episode of Desi Chale Canada. A lot of people who want to move out of their home countries and settle in a more developed country as economic immigrants look towards Canada and Australia as the two possible options. Although the two countries have a lot of similarities, but they are also different in a number of ways. So which of the two would be a better option for you? In this episode, I have compiled together a list of some of the major points that differentiate the two countries and hope that this video will help you to make an informed decision based on your individual circumstances. So if you too are interested to find out more about this topic, then please watch this video till the end and do not forget to press the like, share and subscribe button. Before I go into the details of today's topic, let me tell you that the reason why I make videos comparing two places is simply to highlight the major similarities and differences between two places and help prospective immigrants to make a more calculated decision. I try to keep my videos as close to reality as possible, and some of the viewers may not agree with certain points, which is absolutely fine. Also, it does not mean that I like a certain place and dislike the other place. So if you like or even dislike this video or you have any other feedback, then please take a moment to leave a comment below. Let us now come back to today's topic. Whether moving to Canada or Australia would be a better option for you depends on a lot of factors. The first and probably the most important factor to take into consideration is ease of immigration. Ease of immigration is the first and foremost factor that you must research thoroughly, since if you are not eligible to immigrate to a certain country, then there is no point looking at some of the other secondary factors. Although there are a lot of different immigration programs in both Canada and Australia, but for comparison, let us take a look at two of the most popular immigration programs, the Federal Skilled Worker Program of Canada and Skilled Independent Program of Australia. Both of these programs target new immigrants with skilled work experience who may or may not have a connection to their country of choice in terms of work experience, educational experience or job offer. Also, both of these programs utilize a points-based system to determine eligibility and to select candidates. Both these immigration programs are quite similar in the way that they assign points to applicants on similar factors and also invites candidates every few days based on their ranking points. However, the advantage of the Canadian system is that it is faster as well as cost effective. While the charge for an adult to apply for Canada is $1,040, the Australian system is much more expensive at $3,560. Under Canada's Express Entry system, most applications are processed within 6 months of submission. On the other hand, the Australian system is a bit slower and applications can take up to 10 to 12 months to get processed. The assessment process required under the Australian system can also take a substantial amount of time. Thus, we can say that Canada has an advantage over Australia on this particular factor. The next point, which is a big factor for many people, is the weather. Winter in Canada can be really harsh and witnesses heaps of snowfall in a majority of areas. The cold weather can last for up to 6 months in a year, and the time can be quite depressing, especially for new immigrants. If, however, you are game for trying your hand at winter sports, then Canada can be the best place ever. The summer season, on the other hand, is short but full of activity, and it seems like everyone is out enjoying the great weather. In Canada, you can enjoy all the 4 seasons, and the fall season offers one of the most breathtaking sights on the planet. Australia has tropical weather for most of the time, and depending on the location you are in, it can be quite sunny, warm and pleasant throughout the year. Although you would have to be careful during the peak summer not to expose your skin to a lot of UV radiation. Overall, if you think you cannot handle extreme cold weather, then you would want to look towards Australia. The next point that you must take into consideration is the cost of living. Both Canada and Australia are huge countries, and it is difficult to do an overall comparison of the cost of living in the two countries. Thus, for ease of comparison, I have decided to look at the cost of living in the two major cities of Sydney and Toronto. The rental prices in Sydney are around 10 to 12% more as compared to Toronto. Also, certain essentials like utilities, internet, and consumer electronics also cost more in Sydney as compared to Toronto. Sydney also turns out to be more expensive city when it comes to buying branded clothes. On the other hand, certain things like prescription medicines, which are not covered by Canada's publicly funded healthcare system, are much more expensive in Toronto than in Sydney. Overall, Sydney is about 8 to 10% more expensive than Toronto, which may or may not be a huge factor for prospective immigrants deciding between the two countries. The next big factor to take into consideration would be employment opportunities. Both Canada and Australia are huge countries with a wide job market and opportunities for people from diverse backgrounds and work experiences. However, the basic problem that new immigrants in both the countries face are quite similar. The first and foremost factor is local experience, and without local experience, it is difficult to find a good job within your area of specialization, no matter if you move to Canada or Australia. However, once you get your foot in the door, then things become a lot more easier and you can climb up the success ladder faster. As I have said in a lot of my earlier videos, if you move to a new country, you must be prepared to slog it out and be ready to take up whatever opportunity comes your way. And the same holds true for both Canada and Australia. An important advantage, however, that Canada offers Australia is the country's proximity to the US and the opportunity to work in the US if you become eligible to do so. The next point to take into consideration is public safety. Both Canada and Australia are very safe countries, and the crime rate in both the countries are much lower than some of the other major countries of the world. Although it is difficult to choose one between the two countries in terms of safety, but Canada might have a slight edge, as some of the stray incidents of racial intolerance that you would hear in Australia are unheard of in Canada. The next thing that you must take into consideration is the economy. The economies of both the countries are quite similar, although the major economic activities in the two countries are very different. One US dollar is equal to 1.33 Canadian dollars, while the Australian dollar is 1.48 in exchange to a US dollar. While Canada's economy is heavily dependent on the US and can suffer heavily if the US witnesses a downturn, the Australian economy, on the other hand, is much more dependent and more affected by the Asian countries. Another factor that you might want to take into consideration is outdoor life. Both Canada and Australia have plenty of options for people who love outdoor activities. However, most of Canada is very cold and it would be difficult to stay outdoors for longer times. This is where Australia takes an edge over Canada, as the weather in most parts of Australia is much more favorable throughout the year and residents can enjoy outdoor activities for a greater part of the year. At the same time, for people who love winter sports, Canada is probably the best place on the planet and winter sports opportunities are aplenty. In short, we can say that while both the countries have their own advantages and disadvantages, but where you would want to live depends on your individual preferences. If you liked this video, then please press the like and share button. For more information related to Canadian immigration and life in Canada, please subscribe to Desi Chale Canada's YouTube channel. See you next time.